heck is up, Rams fans and the fans of the rest of the NFC West teams? Welcome back in to an NFC West Roundtable. We missed you guys so much. Christmas week was absolute bananas for all of us, I'm sure, like it was for you guys. But we are back now with another Roundtable. We got a couple of subs, though, that you guys will meet here in just a minute. But the one you guys all know is the representative of the Arizona Cardinals. I'm Sheriff Joe Bags, by the way, for the LA Rams. But we got the AZ sports fan. What's up, man?
What up, man? I'm in a good mood right now. 2 days away for our, we're not talking about last week, or I guess we'll dive into it later.
Oh, you are in a good mood. Okay.
Yeah, I'm good right now. I'm good right now.
Just make sure. All right. And then Steezy was not able to join us tonight, so we've actually got a different Seahawks rep today. Some of you guys might know him. Squabo says, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm honored to be here. Thanks for reaching out. Excited to talk some NFC West football and putting in my nomination for Sixth Man of the Year.
Ooh, okay. Let's and then we also got CG was also not able to make it in tonight. So we also got a backup for the 49ers, and you guys also might know this one. All right. This is John J. How you doing, man?
What's up, guys? It's always great to be here talking NFC West football. I still think it's the best division in the NFL.
Yeah, the NFC best. That is absolutely right. But welcome everybody who's joining us. Welcome to you guys. We got some new faces in here. It's always good to see. Get some good NFC West conversations going. We will be talking about, of course, the NFC West games. We missed last week, so we'll kind of dive a little bit further back. But first, guys, what kind of football-related show would we be if we did not mention the passing of the great John Madden today? I know that for myself, when I was just at work and I heard this news, I actually got the news via text message because I was at work. So kind of see that just, man, I mean, obviously, if you're a football fan, you know John Madden, if nothing more than the video game, and what he did for the game was absolutely huge. But you know what? John Jay was actually telling us a little bit earlier. He's got a story about from where he's living that he wanted to share about Madden. Man, take it away.
So for those who don't know me, my name is John Jay, the 49ers Ultimate Report, and I'm actually from the San Francisco area, but I grew up in a place called Daly City, which is kind of funny. John Madden is from Daly City, and there's like hundreds of stories that, I can tell you about John Madden. But one thing about John Madden that me and him have in common, we grew up in the same area where he was from. Now there's a wonderful park. It's basically it's not called Madden's Lot, but Madden would call it Madden's Lot. It's an area now which is it's a movie theater. But when I was a kid, that was just a little area, little vacant area, grass area. Now they just build stuff over it. But it was a wonderful, wonderful experience to get to see that plaque. A little reminder for those who grew up in that area that was his little area. He would call it just a few. Like less than a couple 100 yards away from his house. He would go there after school, and he and the friends would throw the football. And there's the passion where, it came from John Madden. It's so great that I got to play at that little field. It's not there no more, but as I mentioned, it's a wonderful, wonderful, great story I can remember from John Madden. Now, I'm one of the very few lucky to actually say that I played on that little thing, and it's still something in my heart that I'm never going to forget. And John Madden, rest in peace, man. One of your Daly City, guys. So shout out to you, man. I hope you're resting up there. I miss you, man.
Appreciate that story, man. That's pretty cool that you were able to play that, man, to play at that field. We wanted to do something, and I don't know how much we can do out here in our separate little areas and stuff like that, but I just wanted to share. We'll all pick one of our favorite John Madden quote, because there's some absolute monsters of quotes that John Madden gave us over the course of his career in that booth, especially with Pat Summerall. I know that's such an iconic booth, and one that I still love to hear those guys go back and forth when I'm watching an old game or something like that. But mine, guys, my personal favorite from John Madden, I just want to get this right, so I'm going to read it, is if this team doesn't put points on the board, I don't see how they can win. Absolute gold, man. But I know we all got a quote picked out. So, Mike, which did you go with?
What I'm going to go with here is going to be, you got one guy going boom, one guy going whack, and one guy not getting in the end zone.
Classic. Squabo?
And I quote, "The defense should be expecting a run or a pass here."
Love it.
Oh, I love these. John Jay, you got one?
I actually was not prepared, so
Okay, no worries, no
I
worries,
don't
no
have a
worries.
quote.
Here, I'll give you another one. This one I'll go to. This will be your quote here. If the quarterback throws the ball in the end zone and the wide receiver catches it, that's a touchdown. All right. The wisdom of John Madden, which will definitely not be forgotten. But we do have some football games to talk about. We're just going to go back to week 16. We know that week 15 happened, and hey, it was awesome. All right. It was great on our end over here, but but for this week, we'll go ahead and start with the Titans game. That game happened on Thursday Night Football. I guess I shouldn't call it the Titans game on an NFC West Roundtable show, but the 49ers falling to the Tennessee Titans, man. John Jay, what do you have on this game, man? What happened?
Well, all I can say about this game is that we lost, and I knew before the season started that this was going to be a really good game. But all I can really say about this game is that we can always talk about the quarterbacks, but it was a second half defense that played horrible. I watched that game. I was speechless. I really did not know what I was seeing. And I was going back to last year and the year before, that Robert Saleh third down defense. We're always so conservative on third downs. No matter if it's third and long or third and short, we were unable to stop the third downs. And that's the thing why I was saying to Tamiko, why are we playing very conservative? Why on third and longs, they're able to run, et cetera, get the first downs. Of course, as I mentioned, our secondary is not the best, so when you have, AJ, basically it's just hard for me, just to go back to a game and talk about all the flaws. But overall, besides the quarterback, defense didn't play well. Our run game was not established. Kyle made a lot of boneheaded decisions on a 4th and 6, and he could have kicked the field goal. They could have punted it, So and Jimmy was having a bad game. So on 4th and 6, I don't know what Kyle saw. So you got to put blame on every aspect, from the coaching to the playing to the players. You just cannot just focus on the quarterback. But overall, it was just a hard game to watch as a 49er fan. Plain and simple.
Before we move on to the next game here, was that the final game that we see Jimmy G start for the Niners?
Well, unfortunately, Jimmy has an injury. We do not know the severity of the injury, but Jimmy, and the people around him said that it's much worse than it is. So for sure, he's not going to be playing anytime soon. He might need surgery. We'll find out tomorrow how serious that thumb is. But even if Jimmy did not have, a thumb injury, he will still be playing against the Texans. He will finish out the year, as Kyle mentioned. He's the quarterback, for whatever. But now it seems that now it's Trey who's taking in that role, and I'm not going to be surprised if we stick with Trey Lance for week 17 and week 18 and even to the playoffs, because as a 49er fan, a lot of people think I give Jimmy G too much credit. I don't. Like he's played the same way since he's arrived here. He's never improved. And Trey Lance, I was one of the biggest proponents of Trey Lance, and people are going to see why he fits this Kyle's offense. And, he's basically developed the Niners did it the right way. Now he has 2 games to showcase what he can really be. So I'm still going to say that it's Trey Lance's job. Sorry, Jimmy G, you did what you could do, but you never took that step to, become that long-term guy. So it's Trey Lance. And until something changes, it's Trey Lance.
Yeah, I know all of us on here leading up to the draft was actually Trey Lance was the guy that we did not want the 49ers to take because we thought he was going to be good. But we'll move on to the next game here. We will go to the Bears versus the Seahawks. And it was a tight game, surprisingly a tight game, honestly. I did not expect this one to go that way. In an odd score, 24-25. But Squabo, man, what happened?
We've seen some recurring trends throughout the year that, showed their ugly heads in this game. We got outgained in the air, 229 to 161. We had fewer receivers with a catch, 9-6. First downs, third down percentage, fourth down percentage, total plays, and time of possession all went to Chicago. One of the few good things that we got out of this game, 17 carries, 135 yards, and a touchdown to Rashad Penny. But some of the things that we've seen happening all year that have screwed us over happened once again in this game. Do you guys know that the Seahawks are worse in the NFL in time of possession? It's not much of a shock. Time of possession per game. We're last in plays per game. We're 29th in yards per game. We're 30th in punts per offensive scores. We're last in third downs per game because we can't keep drives going. I know that because Seattle is 31st in first downs per game, and we're especially terrible when it matters the most. We're last in third down conversions per game and last in fourth down conversions per game. This was another game where we couldn't convert. Missed a field goal, didn't execute. We had a lot of errors in this game. We gave up a game-winning drive and a 2-point conversion. We got outplayed, and we had our heart ripped out a week ago. The loss to the Rams. A lot of us felt like, the NFL had a lot to do with the outcome of that game, not just the Seahawks and the Rams. And so our hearts were ripped out. It's time for us to move off of Pete Carroll, but I'm sure we can talk about the rest later.
Yeah, there's, a lot to unpack there for sure. Yeah, just a real quick mention from the Rams perspective. Yeah, obviously pass interference, all right? Yeah. But Rams fans, I don't think we're allowed to talk about pass interference going back to a few years ago. It's still, I didn't see any. I was looking this way, I don't know. I wasn't. But, yeah, clearly it was pass interference. Should have been called. It wasn't. But I also don't think that the game ended on just that play, but. I
wasn't just talking about that play. I was also talking about the play that extended your drive, where it was the holding call, was it? The defensive holding that didn't exist. And then I'm also talking about how the game was moved back for COVID when the NFL has said before the season and the day that the games were rescheduled that they weren't going to move games because players were on the COVID list.
So true. That is 100% the one that I will give you. The NFL was super adamant, saying that if you cannot field a team, you forfeit. Rams should have had a loss. We shouldn't have even had a game.
Well, and the fact that they're going to move us to a Tuesday game, followed by a Sunday game, when any single loss pretty much results in our season being over. Like that.
Yeah.
And then we lost more players to COVID in the time when the game would have been played. It was just a mess. So
it's a disaster for sure. It's just a rough year overall.
If I may, Sheriff Joe, I just wanted to let you know in my show today on my channel at Squabo Says, I did predict you guys as my next Super Bowl champions. So I'll put it out there.
Squabo's here full time now. Let's get
Steezy's out.
That's good stuff. Good stuff. I love that. But we do have another game that we will go ahead and mention here. You know what? And I would say of the games that have happened this last week, every NFL team is good. But these Indianapolis Colts are absolutely no joke, and losing by less than a touchdown to the Colts, I don't think is anything necessary to be that upset about. I know that it's coming in a 3-game losing streak, but it's a pretty tight game, and I think the Cardinals played pretty well overall. All things considered, that's a good team over there. So what you got on this one, man?
Yeah, I think the worst part at this game, because it is a 3-game losing streak, and the Rams went through it as well, but it's kind of one of those things where the Arizona Cardinal fans are kind of going through this whole motion of we start off really hot, we collapse towards the end, and I was so preaching what these players have been saying time and time again, the 1-0 mentality, we're not going to do it again. And it kind of seems like that's the trend happening. And, kind of what Squabo says, I felt like the Rams took the heart of this Arizona Cardinal team and started the 3-game losing streak for us. Obviously, right after that one, we had the Lions. And like I said, we don't want to dive into it too much, but it's kind of
I disagree. Let's go back to that one.
Well, it's kind of a tale of, what the Arizona Cardinals kind of do. We don't really have any good success with the Lions, and I would think this year would be different because we've been preaching, 1-0 mentality, and we kind of fell back into that same trap. And it's not like we were close in that game. We got slaughtered. We got destroyed in that game, and I was really hoping that our eyes were going to be peeled and come back, strong. And I think we put a good effort into this game against the Colts, but we had a lot of things kind of going, against us. Well, I'm not going to put this game on because the Colts had a lot of players out. Their whole offensive line was pretty much out, and they got the last offensive lineman hurt. And JT, Jonathan Taylor, still had over 100 yards. And we've been talking about this like as fans, like our biggest weakness is our run defense. It's absolutely garbage. I was hoping that Steve Keim was going to be able to do something in the trade deadline. We didn't do it. But we're kind of having to lay in this bed that we made ourselves right now. And I'm hoping with these last two games, we'll be able to kind of, stick our way out. But one thing that didn't help us, obviously penalties is still, affecting our team. We're driving, but we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot. And Matt Prater, man, probably one of the most solid kickers that we've had in a long time. And not just with us, but the NFL, he was missing a lot of his kicks. He missed 2 field goals and 1 PAT, which I'm not going to say, if we did that, we would have won, because I understand circumstances are different when it comes down to the NFL and how it's played. But Andy Lee, which is usually our the guy who holds the ball, he was out with COVID. So we had Colt McCoy that he was basically doing laces in. So it really didn't help out Prater's situation. So it was just kind of a lot of things on top of each other. And it was just, when it rained, it poured. That's what it really felt like for the Arizona Cardinal fans right now. And like I said, hopefully we can get it right, but it doesn't look good when you see the Cowboys dropping 50 plus points on the Washington football team. So we'll see what happens, but that's kind of my take on that game.
Yeah, that was a pretty wild game, but it actually helped out my Rams quite a bit, of course, with that game being the previous day, being a Christmas Day one. Yeah. We knew going into the game that if we took care of business against the Minnesota Vikings, that I would be able to hold up this.
I deserve it.
Because Mike, like a total jerk after week 4, decided to make one of these. So it's taken me all this time, but I was able to get one back, man. So
that's fair.
I'm going to put that up somewhere, I think, for these.
Let's tape it like I did.
Yeah, but I do.
But that's next year.
Oh boy, here we go.
See. All right, easy there, easy. But real fast, just on this Rams and Vikings game, it was a pretty tight game, 23-30 win for the LA Rams, and I mean, playing pretty good, honestly. I mean, we've seen a little bit of a shift on the defensive side of the football. I'm still not super loving Raheem Morris, but I think that him actually letting Jalen Ramsey play on the top wide receivers is helping our defense quite a bit, and that's pretty awesome. And also, unsung hero out there, Greg Gaines in the middle. He's really taken over that Michael Brockers role, and I think he's embracing it, and I think that he might be doing a little bit better job than Brockers was, I would say in recent years. There was some St. Louis years where Brock was absolutely insane, but I think he's kind of replaced that production, so that's going really awesome right now. The downside in this one, I guess the bad, would be Stafford. I mean, he just didn't look sharp. He had a couple of throws where you're like, what are you doing? But that's also 2 weeks in a row now. So it's raising a lot of question marks amongst the Rams fan base. And some fans are basically saying well, he's not going to get it done in the playoffs. I say, let's let him get to the playoffs before we say he can't do it. All right. And let's at least give him some time in there. I know that everybody will always say next year kind of thing, but hey, man, Rams, NFC plays 9 home games next year, and one of our road games is at the Chargers. So we get 10 SoFi games next year. It'll be Stafford's second year on our offense. I'm liking next year a little bit more than this year anyway, and I kind of started with that mindset. But, Mike, you had something?
Yeah, I just have a question, man. I just want to, obviously the super chat, definitely wanted to let you know that, but also these next 2 games, man, I know you have your sign of the, first in the West, but this next 2 games, I'm just so excited to put that away. I'm just excited to see how this is going to turn out, man. This is going to be really exciting because if you look at your schedule and look at ours as well, it can go any which way. And I don't know, man, I'm just really stoked to continue this roundtable because, it really humbles us. When we had I had my, chest puffed out. I agree. It's all on me. Yeah. Sunglasses on. I was ready to go. But you got to keep in mind, man, the Cardinals don't really have much to gloat about. So when we do, I was getting a little big headed there at that point. But man, I'm really, really excited about it. But after the super chat, I do have some questions for Squabble before we jump into the next games, though.
Awesome. Sounds good. This is a little bit of a loaded question, actually, coming from Edwin to the whole roundtable. Rams are the best in the West. First of all, that's not a question. That's just stating facts. If you could pick one player from each West team to go to the Pro Bowl, who would you pick? It's a very loaded question here. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to say obviously, I mean, dude, I don't even know the Pro Bowl roster, so I'll probably be listing people who are in. I don't even watch the Pro Bowl. I'm not a Pro Bowl guy. But oof, dude. Anybody else want to jump in on this one? I have no
Is
idea.
it
Donald, Bosa, and Murray.
Okay, so we can name people who are in, I guess.
And Quandre Diggs. Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah?
Okay, I get that. Okay, let's see.
So are we picking one from each team, right?
Yeah.
Okay, quick question. Debo hadn't make it, right? I don't think he did. I say Debo,
Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp. Yeah, he probably made it, but it's okay. Cooper Kupp, Arizona, somebody who didn't make it in. Connor made it, damn it.
JJ Watt.
JJ Watt, appreciate you, man. JJ Watt. Seahawks. I'm struggling with the Seahawks, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You can pick our whole roster because we only have 2 Pro Bowlers. Like,
yeah, Tuesday, right? Can I go with frick? I'll just go with Carson. I know
he's
played
been
good in the
out
beginning.
half the year.
I
Rashad
know, he
Penny,
played good in
if
the
you're gonna go
beginning.
a running
That's the
back,
reason
like,
why. And I don't really know your guys' roster, so don't.
Okay. Well, if we're talking about the Seahawks, I'd say maybe Tyler Lockett, Jordan
God,
Brooks.
I'm an idiot.
Well, Tyler Lockett, just because his numbers aren't as good because of the fact that Wilson was gone for so long, but he's been extremely explosive at times when he's targeted. Maybe Jordan Brooks. He's had a good year at linebacker. Darrell Taylor's been a good pass rusher. If we're talking about guys that didn't make it.
I'm just gonna throw out the players that I would want on the Rams.
Joseph Day.
So I will go with, for Arizona, I'm gonna go Budda Baker. I think Buda's awesome. I don't know if he made it or not. For Seattle, I'll go DK. Don't know if he made it or not, but I like his physicality. I think he's got more talent than he's playing with right now, but I think a big part of that is his coach. And then San Fran, I mean, my favorite on San Fran is Kittle. I'm sure he made it though, but I'll give a vote to either Kittle or Debo. Those guys are amazing. John Jay?
You see, for the 49ers, I'm not sure if he made it because I don't really care about the Pro Bowl. It's a popularity contest. Azeez Al-Shaair, DJ Jones, and on the offensive side, Elijah Mitchell. Even though Elijah Mitchell has missed, some time, he's a really good running back. So those are 3 guys I would put on the Pro Bowl who probably didn't make it. When it comes to the other teams, like I said, I don't know your full rosters. I will go with Russell Wilson. He probably made it. For the Cardinals, Kyler Murray, he's pretty good. For the Rams, Cooper Kupp, things like that. So those are what I would choose.
Good calls on that one, man. Yeah, I guess I didn't throw a Rams one in. A Rams one who didn't make it, who I think would be Andrew Whitworth. I think he's a little snubbed there. Guy's awesome, man. A big wit. But all right, Mike, you said you had some questions before we hop into this next week.
Yes. Before I do that, just shout out to everybody that's in the stream right now. I think we had like over 50 people in here right now. That's actually pretty amazing. Appreciate you guys for coming through. But yeah, question for Squabble, man. We got the take from Steezy about Russell Wilson. What would you do, man, in this situation? Because everybody's been asking Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll, what's gonna happen?
So I have a very developed theory about this concept. I do appreciate you you asking. So I think it's important to mention the last 2 weeks we have the Rams game where we all know what happened there. Seattle didn't play. Like Seattle had plenty of opportunities to make plays. That game obviously demoralized our season. So the Chicago game didn't even matter at that point. So outside of these 2 weeks, and a serious case can be made, and I've made that case on a couple of different shows, that, the NFL had a huge part to do with the Rams game. Outside of these 2 games, so when Russell Wilson got injured, he was supposed to miss 4 to 8 weeks, right? He came back in 4, including the bye week, only missing 3 games. Seattle went 0-3. 1-2, and had a horrible stretch of games. We should have beat New Orleans and we should have beat Pittsburgh. Since Russell Wilson came back, the next 2, since the time that he was supposed to be back from injury, the Seahawks were 2-0, including a 30-23 win over San Francisco and a 33-13 win at Houston. It was in the time that Russell Wilson came back too early. The loss at Green Bay, his first ever shutout. The loss at Washington. The loss at home versus the Cardinals. Those were the games when he shouldn't have been back based on injury. So I think it's fair if we swap just the games that we should have won or we would have won. It's safe to say we would have had more than 10 points against New Orleans if we had Russell Wilson. It's safe to say we would have won a game that went to overtime against Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh with Geno Smith if we had Russell Wilson. So this year specifically does in fact come down to Russell Wilson and his injury. But most of the blame 100% goes to Pete Carroll. Now, I'm not here to fully absolve Russell Wilson because he has made mistakes, but I have made the case all year long that it is because the defense and the locker room has lost faith in Pete's ability to oversee the offense. And it started way back in Super Bowl 49. Ever since then, everything that we used to have that was a staple that made us so successful has become a weakness. The draft woes. So on the way to the Super Bowl, we ran the ball all the way to get there, and then we passed it on the goal line, which was the first sign that Pete goes away from our identity when situations get tough. Early on, he was strong in the draft game because he was fresh out of college. He was just recruiting those guys to go to USC. We were getting guys like Richard Sherman in the 5th round and Russell Wilson in the 3rd round. We're getting all these guys later on in the draft. Doug Baldwin undrafted. And then ever since then, where have our draft picks been? We haven't had a 1st-round Pro Bowler drafted since 2010. There have been multiple years. Jermaine Ifedi, Rashad Penny, Malik McDowell, just to name a few, where we have struggled with our first draft picks. And because of that, we've overcompensated. And because we've struggled so much as of late drafting, we traded 2 of our 1st-round picks for Jamal Adams. And that is another huge thing that's a horrible trade now. And even when the trade was made, before the trade, I was saying, if we're going to trade for Jamal Adams, I'm giving up a 2nd-round pick and Bradley McDougald. We ended up giving 2 firsts, a 3rd, and Bradley McDougald in that trade. Now it's biting us in the butt. We have a top 10 pick that's going to the New York Jets. We should have been drafting was our strength. And because it no longer was, we forced a trade for Jamal Adams, and it only would have been successful if we won a Super Bowl, which we're not even close to. We needed a running back this offseason, but we didn't want to bring someone in or draft someone when we only had 3 draft picks, and we recently drafted a 1st-rounder that's a bust in Rashad Penny. Well, yes, he showed up a few games when our season was over. We needed him when Wilson was gone, and he was unavailable because he was injured. Our offense, the Seahawks offense, has had consistent problems since the Super Bowl. We've had 3 different offensive coordinators. They are not the problem. Seattle is now where offensive coordinators go to die. Pete Carroll is the constant. We've had no short pass game. We've been forcing balls to players at the wrong time. That includes DK Metcalf versus the Rams. When a player throws a temper tantrum on the sideline during a playoff game, does that mean force the ball to him on the very next play on a screen pass that turns out to be the difference in the ball game and the end of our season? I don't think so. That's a bad decision by Pete Carroll. With that, the game versus the 49ers a couple of weeks ago, we almost lost to the 49ers because we were forcing the ball to Gerald Everett. He already had a fumble, and he tipped the ball up for an interception that should have been a touchdown that kept the 49ers in the game. Then on 3rd and goal, with the game on the line, we have an opportunity to clinch it, and we hand the ball to Gerald Everett once again. So Pete Carroll goes to players at the wrong times. It's improper personnel and development across the offensive line. I said into this season, we needed a center and a running back. Long story short, splitting ways with Pete Carroll allows him to be a scapegoat to a certain degree. I don't think we're going to fire him. I think we're going to mutually agree to part ways at the end of the season. And I think the only thing that we can do in order to keep this locker room at least the tiniest bit intact is to do that, because he has 100% lost this locker room. I think we bring in a new offensive-minded guy like Eric Bieniemy, who didn't take any of the head coaching jobs last year because it wasn't the right opportunity. How about going to Seattle with Russell Wilson and a place that has struggled so long offensively? You get an opportunity to take this, what was a top 5 quarterback and an MVP candidate, revitalize this offense, get the entire roster bought into you. I think that's the way to go for Seattle.
You kind of answered my question that I had, that I was going to have a follow-up question, but I'll still ask it because I kind of want to hear a quick response on this one. It would be, who leaves? Russ, Pete, or both?
Wilson stays, Pete leaves.
Cool.
I love the passion, man. I love it. Oh, got me fired up, and I'm not even a Seahawks fan.
It's been a long time coming.
Good stuff, man. I do appreciate that. That's that is really like the best way I've heard it laid out of like this is what the problem is, and this is a good way we could fix it, man. I like that. So we are going to go ahead and move forward into week 17 this year. Week 17 is not the final week of the regular season. I hate that we're already to week 17. It feels like it's gone way too fast, but hey, on the other side of this couple weeks here, we got playoffs starting for most of our teams here, so that'll be some fun stuff. Rams locked in, Cardinals locked in. Cardinals needed help to get locked in, but they got it. And then 49ers are getting real close to confirming their bid to the playoffs. And actually, if the playoffs were to start today, the Rams would host the 49ers. So wild stuff, man. And then we see how that one would go. The 49ers kind of been our kryptonite a little bit. We'll go ahead and start, though, in this Week 17 slate. We'll start with the Rams at the Baltimore Ravens, because this is actually the first game of the weekend. We were in the late slot, got kicked over to the early slot, so I'm a little sad about it, but still televised, so I'll take that. But Rams at Baltimore Ravens. It looks like Lamar Jackson will be back in this one, but the Rams are playing a lot better football lately on a 3-week winning streak that the Rams have right now. They've also been missing a lot of things. A lot of adversity has gone on, so missing different starters to COVID every single week of these last 3. We went into Arizona with honestly, we went into the Arizona game. I did not think we could win that game with the roster that we fielded. And then you got the Seahawks game. I guess I felt confident about that game because the Seahawks are not necessarily as strong as we're used to seeing. But it was a Tuesday. We're missing players. If the game was on Sunday, we didn't even have enough players to put out on a football field. And then this last week against Minnesota, still missing guys. We didn't have Andrew Whitworth, but still we're able to kind of get it going. And I think this Rams team is playing some really good football right now. The Baltimore Ravens defense is pretty rough. They give up a lot of passing yards. Thank you, Joe Burrow, for ruining those averages for the Baltimore Ravens defense. So they are slightly skewed if you just look at these recent weeks, but first in defense against the run. So it looks like Darrell Henderson goes on IR, but the Rams might get Cam Akers back this week. I don't know what that would mean as far as what his carries would look like, anything like that. But as far as a pick, guys, I'm picking the LA Rams. I think we're playing hot right now, and those Baltimore Ravens, I just don't think that they're strong enough. I don't think that their defense is strong enough. Lamar Jackson, obviously, dude can light it up at any moment. Dude can score a touchdown on any single play. But what's up with the rest of the squad? You know what I mean? I just don't think that they're that strong right now. I think that Lamar is really carrying that franchise right now. So my point prediction here, I'm going to go with 33 for the LA Rams. I'm going to go ahead and give the Ravens 27. I think it'll be a pretty tight game. I feel like that's too high. I'm going to change that. I'm going to knock them down a touchdown. I'm going to go 20. 33-20 for the Rams is going to be my pick. John Jay, we haven't heard from you in a minute, man. Why don't you go ahead and pick this game for us? Rams at Ravens.
So basically, one thing is I'm in a NFL community, and I got to know some Ravens fans, and one of the Ravens fans is that they're hurt overall from quarterback all the way down to their defense. They're hurt. They're playing a lot of practice squad guys, a lot of backups, third string. So that's one of the reasons why they've not been having the year that they're having. So I'm going to pick the Rams to win this game because the Ravens are not the team that I knew. When the season started, Lamar's been inconsistent. He's also been hurt. He's missed games due to COVID. So, it's just been a bad situation for a Baltimore Ravens fan. So I got the score Rams winning the game. I got them 27-17. The Ravens are going to, play competitive, but I don't think they're going to be putting a lot of points up.
All right, Squabba.
I think you guys are going to dominate. I agree with you along the line. It's going to be something along the lines of like 34-21. You said 33-20. I'll add a point to each of those. Look, Tyler Huntley, the guy who's been lighting it up for the Baltimore Ravens, is on the COVID list. Lamar Jackson is coming off an ankle injury. I don't think he's touched the field to the day, and there's a chance he practices this week, and there's a chance he plays, but when your number one strength is your versatility, your shiftability, and your ability to escape. Having an ankle injury is terrifying. I've strained my right ankle multiple times just playing rec league sports, and next time I go back in, I can't help but to think about if it's going to roll again. And so if you're playing in the NFL with grown men that are getting paid millions of dollars to cause you harm, I think that's going to be a real concern. You're taking away his biggest strength, and the Rams are smoking hot right now, 34-21.
Yeah, let's see if he can run away from Aaron Donald all day. That'll be a tough task, man. And I feel like Mike's going to ruin our streak here of the clean sweep. I just see it in his eyes, man. So what do you got, man?
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest here. I want the Rams to lose.
Naturally.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I think Squabble said it, great in terms of Lamar Jackson. I do think he's gonna play today, but he probably won't be. The it's kind of like the whole Seahawks, Russell Wilson type of stuff. They are in dire need of trying to make a playoff run, and I feel like they're going to force, Lamar Jackson out there. Although I don't want this to happen because, I want the Arizona Cardinals to hold on a string and the opportunity to get the NFC West. But I do think the Rams will beat it out. I'm going to say 28-24 Rams win.
Yeah, I can just mention it now. If the Rams win against the Ravens and the Cardinals lose to the Cowboys, the Rams do clinch the NFC West. And then Week 18 against the Niners gets a lot less exciting, but still exciting. It's going to be good stuff. But it's real snug. We'll go to this next game here because I'm actually kind of curious to see what everybody thinks about this one. We're going to go with the Detroit Lions at the Seattle Seahawks. So we know that these Lions, they played the heck out of the Rams, and that was early in the season. That was like Week 7 or something like that. They played a great game against the Rams. They obviously just beat the Arizona Cardinals. This is a team who's playing really hard. They're just like, for the whole season, it's been like they've been in most games. They're playing the crap out of everybody, but we're just falling short. I think that they're headed in the right direction, and it's games like against the Cardinals that we'll kind of look at it like, oh, yeah, they were kind of putting it together. I don't think that that's necessarily in the same class. The Lions beating the Cardinals this year, I don't put that in the same class as the Jets beating the Rams last year. I think that this Detroit Lions team is actually just pretty physical. And Arizona, I think they just kind of got caught on a bad week. Like I said, they played the heck out of the Colts, which was a good one. But getting back into this game here, Detroit Lions at Seattle Seahawks. Squabo, take it away.
It's crazy. It's the first year the NFL has 17 regular season games, and I feel like for Seattle, we have way fewer. Like we definitely have way fewer that matter. This is one of those games. Like this is like I'm a Seahawks fan. I could care less about this. I'm going to this game. I could care less about this game. Like I think we win. The only stake that I have in this game, Rashad Penny in fantasy, and the fact that the Jets have our first round pick, and if we win, there's a chance it's a worse pick. So I say we win this game 26-23.
All right. John Jay?
So basically, you have a Detroit Lions team, which, they have nothing to play for. So all they're doing is playing spoiler. And then you have a Seattle Seahawks team, which as a 49er fan, I'm not a big fan of the Seattle Seahawks. But when I look at these two teams, I think this game is going to be competitive. And the reason why is because you have two teams that have nothing to play for. They're just trying to spoil. I think the Detroit Lions are going to play their hearts out. They've been playing hearts out. We all remember, against the Steelers, they fought. The Seattle Seahawks against the Chicago Bears, they fought to the end. But, the Bears won that game. So this game is going to be a very tight window. Whoever has the ball last will probably win the game. I got the Seattle Seahawks. I got the Seattle Seahawks winning a very close game. It's going to be a very tight game. I got it a 24-23 game. I got the Seattle Seahawks winning.
John, that's real interesting. I almost feel like it's the opposite. I feel like whoever gets the ball last is going to lose. That's what this game more feels like to me. Like Green Bay, Tampa Bay, whoever gets the ball last is going to win. Seattle, Detroit right now. I don't know.
That's kind of an interesting take, man. But I almost disagree with one comment you make there, John Jay, which is that these teams have nothing to play for. Because I don't think that's ever the case in the NFL. Like, yeah, you're not playing for playoffs, but there's so much more that you're playing for. And nobody wants to lose. Nobody's going out here like, we can just go ahead and drop this one because we'll get a better draft pick in April. These players don't care about if you're picking third or fifth. You know what I mean? Like, they don't care. They want to go out and put some good tape on. And some of these guys ain't coming back. They're not coming back to your team. So they're going to want to, they're auditioning right now for other teams. And you're always auditioning. I mean, you're auditioning with your own team every single week. So that's the only thing I kind of disagree. I get what you're saying. They're not playing for a playoff spot, but that's the only thing I would like to add on that one. I mean, people are going to come out and play hard, and especially a Dan Campbell football team. I think they're always going to play hard. I don't care. Like, I feel like if they go into the last week with no wins, they're still going to come out there and they're biting kneecaps. You know what I mean? It's a thing. So that being said, though, I mean, this Seahawks team, they're so hard to pin down this year. They're hard to predict on how they're going to perform week in and week out. It's too hard to go against the Seattle Seahawks at home, no matter what they look like, though. If Russell Wilson and those Seattle Seahawks playing at home, I can't bet against that, especially against these Detroit Lions. I don't care if the Seahawks are having a bad season or not. I have to go with Seattle in this one. So my score prediction, I don't think it's going to be that exciting of a game. I don't think anything too flashy is going to happen. I don't think we're going to be seeing any SportsCenter top 10s out of this one. But I'm going to say 17-9. The Seahawks take it.
Ugly.
Yeah, I definitely see this, kind of score like Joe says, but I'm gonna be spoiler. I'm gonna be that guy here. I'm gonna say the Lions are gonna take this here, man. I do think that the Dan Campbell team, they got something to play for, man. I've seen it. Obviously nobody wants to lose to the Lions, but I can't be the only darn team that lost to the Lions this year. So I'm gonna say the Seahawks will lose to the Lions as well, because I think I just need something to cure my soul after that loss from the Lions here. But honestly, I do think they're a very scrappy team. They got some young pieces that are up and coming. Now, Jared Goff, is he the answer? Most likely, probably not. He just plays really good against the Arizona Cardinals. I hate it, but it's just fact. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I know they had that running back that ran 100 over us, and that's just really frustrating to see. But I kind of want good things from the Lions, and I think that's why I'm going towards the Lions pick. So I'm going to say 17-13, nothing flashy, nothing crazy, but I do think the Lions are going to pull it off. 17 Lions, 13 Seahawks, and it just makes more of a reason for Russell Wilson to be like, I want to get out of this place. So yeah.
There's a comment that you had just now that used to be said about the Rams and used to offend me back in like the 2006 to 2009 range, when people would say that the Rams are scrappy. It's like, yo, we're not your little brother, bro. All right. Like,
yeah, no, that's what it sounds like. Huh? That's what it sounds like. But yeah, I hear you.
Because, and back in that time, and exactly like the Lions beating the Cardinals, nobody was like, oh man, look out for the Lions. Everybody's like, way to go, guys. Go get it.
Right, exactly. Good job.
They're the little brother of the NFL right now. All right, next game here. We are going to go, we'll go to, because the best game is going to be taking place with the Arizona Cardinals. So we're going to go with the San Francisco 49ers, who are actually going to be hosting a very winnable game here against the Houston Texans, but it looks like we'll be getting a new quarterback. At least we all are pretty confident that we're going to see a new quarterback this week. We'll see how that unfolds in these final weeks heading into the playoffs. But John Jay, what do you got, man?
Yeah, so basically, Jimmy Garoppolo basically broke his thumb and some ligaments, and it might need surgery. So tomorrow, the 49ers will find out how serious that injury is going to be. But Cal has already said, worst case scenario, we're already putting Trey Lance working with the first team this week. So basically, we're already hearing that Trey Lance is basically practicing with the first team, first reps, etc., getting them ready for the game. Now, last week, the Houston Texans beat the Chargers. They beat the Chargers, a team that had a lot to play for, and it shows you any given Sunday, anything can happen. Now, when it comes to the Texans, they have one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. So if Elijah Mitchell is back, if Jeff Wilson is there, and then Debo, basically they're going to be just running the ball on the Texans. The Texans, I was just told by an NFL insider who covers the team as well that team does not have any significant star power on defense. So that's one way for the 49ers to win that game, is to run the football. And with Trey Lance, there'd be a lot of read options. We're going to see a lot of quarterback risks just against how they played with the Cardinals. So that's going to be one of the things that's going to happen. On the defense side of the ball, Fred Warner's been playing really good the last 5 weeks. Nick Bosa is a beast. He's defensive player of the year. So, Nick Bosa is really good. Okay, our secondary, while it's been a little bit shaky with penalties, Ambry Thomas has actually been playing really, really well in zone schemes, and one-on-one matchups. So when I look at this team, if the Niners can run the football on offense, pressure the quarterback with Nick Bosa and the defensive line, and hopefully we get Azeez Al-Shaair to come back, who's a really good player at the run and pass game. The 49ers are probably going to, win this game, but I'm not 100% confident. I don't do predictions when it comes to my team. But when I look at overall what the Niners have to do, if they do everything correctly, what I say, the Niners are going to win this game. I think it's going to be 28-14. That's my score.
All right. AZ?
Yeah, this game here, I'm just going to keep it short and simple. I think the 49ers have definitely the playoff spot, and I definitely think they're a shoo-in. And I obviously don't want to jinx it here, John Jay, so don't come at me if they don't. But I definitely do think they're going to be shoo-in here when it comes down to the wild card spot. So, yeah, I'm going to say Niners win this game. I would say 35-17. Just throw some points over to the Texans. Because, I mean, they still got Brandon Cooks. So Cooks is still doing some stuff. So that's all Squabble's face. What's up?
Yeah, Squabble, you got something on your mind, man?
I was doing some math. I'm sorry. I'm looking at this roster. There's 9 starters out for Houston right now, and I'm like, San Francisco is so dang lucky. I swear, man, y'all like, because this Houston team is good. They just beat the Chargers. They got all that momentum. They didn't just beat the Chargers. They blew them out. And the Chargers are a playoff team in the AFC, which right now is the better conference. So at least in terms of the bottom of the playoff picture. So I think Houston's playing some good football. They gave us a battle. Davis Mills was singing it around. He's coming off his first win. But their run defense is the worst in the NFL. And in a game without Jimmy Garoppolo, even in a game with Jimmy Garoppolo, you guys are really good at running the football and you're extremely dedicated. What was it? 40-something runs against the Rams a couple weeks ago. You guys are going to win the game. It's going to be closer than you guys want to admit. It'll be more like 28-27, but you guys are going to win.
Yeah, I'll keep this one short. Those Houston Texans beating the Chargers. The Chargers are one of those teams that, they're so hot and cold. You know what I mean? Like, you never really know what Chargers team is going to show up. They're a better team than they played last week. But hey, Houston just came in. What I think is going to be the difference here is going to be Trey Lance, actually. I think that it's so difficult when you make a quarterback change, whether that's for injury or you decide to just put somebody else in. The lack of tape, the lack of knowing their tendencies, all that stuff, I think it plays a big factor. And let's just call it what it is. The 49ers are a better football team than the Houston Texans. And these Texans, I just don't think are going to be able to get it done. I don't think it's going to be any kind of like explosion or anything like that, because these 49ers, one of the things that they do the best, and when they're at their best that they do really well, is run the football, control the clock. And I think that's what we see in this one. So I don't see anything super crazy happening in this one. I'm going to go 20-13 for the 49ers on this one, man. But we got the biggest game of this one. So we're all going San Fran, by the way. But the biggest game of this week and has many playoff implications, not just for the two teams involved, but for other teams outside of them as well. And the Rams will know what we need to happen or what may happen at the conclusion of this game because the Rams do have an early kickoff. So by the time we're done, we'll know what we need out of this one at least. But Mike, what do you got, man?
Yeah, man, this game is huge. This game is huge for the Arizona Cardinals here. It really just depends on, a 4-game losing streak, or are we going to have an opportunity at the NFC West? And I know we have a lot of fans out there that just, the moment we clinch the playoffs, they're singing Kumbaya, hunky dory. That's not me, man. I want, obviously, every single year. I'm not delusional. I know we're not going to be, Super Bowl every single year, but anytime you get the opportunity for a Super Bowl, like this is the time. Kyler Murray's still in his rookie year. The team, the way that this team is built, although we have injury, is to kind of have like a 1 to 2 year window. And that's just kind of the way that the Arizona Cardinals are, building their team every single time, because we suck at draft picks. That's just the way that it is. But this game is huge for the Cardinals. Now, I know there's a lot of fans out there saying that Kyler Murray doesn't lose in Texas, and and Jerry world and all that different stuff. But we got to throw away all that history type of stuff, and we just got to play football. We got to play football like we did in the first 7 weeks, because that's when we were really good. But what I'm seeing so far from Kyler Murray, although I'm not saying it's a lot on Kyler, but he definitely looks off. I'm not quite sure if it was because he missed those 3 games and he's just kind of getting used to the whole situation. But we're seeing Kyler Murray, overthrow players, seeing Kyler Murray, not take the check down or just convert the first down when we're just needing a 3 and 4 or 3rd and 4th, and he's just chucking it up in the air. And that's the kind of stuff that we need to fix, because what we were doing best when we were in the, on a 7-game, winning streak, is we were making sure that we had the ball and, maintained our drives. And that's not what we're seeing in these last 3 weeks. So obviously I want the Cardinals to win. I'm going to pick us just because I'm going to pull the homer card here, and I want the Arizona Cardinals to win. So I got to put some good juju out in the world right now. Although this is going to be a tough matchup because we're depleted, man. In the cornerback situation right now, Marco Wilson, which is our 4th rounder, he's hurt. Robert Alfred, which is having a really good year, he still has a pick issue. We just signed, is it Brashawn Breeland? I believe that's how you say his name, but he's even having some COVID issues right now, so he most likely won't be able to play because he tested positive the moment we signed him. So it's a mess, man. It's a mess right now. So not even to mention our run defense is still lackluster, but now our secondary is, pretty tough. So it's going to be pretty hard for the Arizona Cardinals to maintain, the pace, especially that we saw the Cowboys put on 50 plus on the Washington football team. But I got to be positive, and I'm hoping that our offense turns around. I don't like to think that we're going to be looking this bad, especially without DeAndre Hopkins, but that seems to be the trend here. So I'm going to pull the Arizona Cardinals, hopefully rabbit out of the hat. I'm going to say it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game. I'm going to say Cardinals win. Hopefully we get it right, 35-31 Cardinals.
All right, Squabbo?
Man, I thank you for calling on me next, man, because I just want to crush his dreams. I'm sorry. I like you, AZ Sports fan. I like you a lot, but you guys haven't won for 3 straight games. You lost to the Rams, you lost to Detroit, and then you lost to Indy. So your last win was versus Chicago, or it was against Chicago. It was 33-22, and it was on December 5th. That's 23 days ago. You realize the Cowboys haven't lost since Thanksgiving. Like they are undefeated since Thanksgiving, and it hasn't just been victories. Did you guys see the spanking that they just put on the Washington football team? I didn't see most of it because I tuned out early. That game was over in the first half. Dallas is coming in hot, not just like regular hot. They're like scorching hot. They're going to beat you guys by double figures. I'm thinking 10 to 17 point difference in the ball game. I'll give you guys a level of respect here, and I'll say it's 34-21, but I think Dallas wins comfortably.
All right, John Jay?
I want to give a shout out to the platform of Lawrence Jackson. Please check out his channel. He has good content. He talks about the 49ers. I want to give him one of CG's boys. I always give out the CG's boys and everyone. So check them out. So basically, when I look at this game, I'm a 49er fan, so I'm not a big fan of the Cowboys. We had those rivalries, but people forget, even in the 80s and the 70s, the Niners and the Cowboys, we go back. So I'm not a big Cowboys fan. But when I look at the Arizona Cardinals, and as I mentioned, I know Ravens fans, Cardinals fans, Giants fans, Bears fans, etc. And one of the Cardinals fans, has been telling me that for whatever the reason, near the end of the year, whatever happens, they kind of blow it for whatever the reason. I don't get it. I don't follow the Cardinals, but he's also been saying, like the bad quarterback play in the red zone, the run game, a lot of players being hurt. If this time of the year, if all of that stuff is really hurting you near the end of the year, where players are hurt, your quarterback's inconsistent in the red zone, your running game hasn't been playing the way they were playing earlier in the year, that's not a really good sign. That's not a really good sign. The Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, he has the weapons. Ezekiel Elliott hasn't been running the football the last couple of years. He's not that same guy. It's Tony Pollard, I think. Their defense actually is playing pretty good this year. So I give them a big credit. Now, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. And as a 49er fan, this is going to pain for me to say, but I'm choosing the Cowboys to win a very close matchup. It's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going to say 31-28. It's going to be a very, very good game. I think the Cardinals are not going to give up. I think they're going to fight hard, but Dallas is just too strong right now.
Yeah, we got a new fan for Squabo here. This is actually there's two comments here from Josh, who now has a favorite Seahawks fan. This next one here is the information that I was actually going to share with you guys. Is that Josh's wife is a Seahawks fan, and Squabo's now above her in Josh's eyes. So hey, man,
I don't know what you're doing. I wouldn't have said that to my wife. Hey, good luck, I appreciate the support. Seriously, you're gonna need it. I'm here for you.
That is, man, you jumped up, man. That's amazing stuff right there.
I'm honored. Seriously.
Right. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. I want to preface my comments here. Because I see that the chat is not happy. I want to preface this by just saying that my pick here is not a personal attack. Okay, I'm picking football teams. I by no intention am I saying that you guys are bad people, that you guys suck, anything like that. But let's not pretend like the Dallas Cowboys aren't playing really, really good football and the Cardinals are not. All right, you got one team who's launching forward and they're heading to the playoffs looking at the 2 seed now. Their eyes are trying to go for the 1 seed, and then you have a team that's limping into the playoffs. They clinched, but not off their own wins. They got help to clinch. Like, it was just kind of, they clinched by default. So you have one team limping, you have one team that's on fire. And that's an easy pick for me. I'm going Dallas in this one. I'm kind of along the lines with Squabo here. I don't know if this game will be that close. I realize that the Cardinals and Washington are two very different football teams. But let's also keep in mind originally the game that was a couple weeks ago between those two teams was a lot closer. Dallas adjusted and then blew them up. All right. So I think that this game is going to be not amazing, but let's say for the Arizona Cardinals here, they're not playing good football. All right. DeAndre Hopkins is out. They're not managing the game well. They just look sloppy right now. And this Dallas team is the exact opposite right now. So I know that some of you guys out there are definitely in your emotions right now based on me and Squabo and what our picks are. And hey, that's fine. Everybody, I keep that same energy. Why don't you guys make sure that you're back on the NFC West Roundtable next week, no matter where we're at. And I hope you guys have that same energy of us apparently just disrespecting the crap out of your teams. It's like that. But for a score prediction here, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to say that the Cowboys put up 34. And I'm going to say the Cardinals, I'm going to say they get 13.
Ooh. Whoa. Okay. So let me just say this thing here real quick. Wow. I appreciate you going against us because you know how that goes for you, Joe. So next roundtable, I think it's going to be on CG. If not CG, it's going to be on my channel. So Bird Gang, you heard him, man. You heard him. So hopefully everybody comes in and we all keep the same energy. If not, I'll be crying in the corner. But we'll see. I
just hope that we don't lose all of our Cardinals fans when Dallas smokes them, and then they're like, "No, I don't want to go. I'm busy on Tuesday. I got plans that night."
Oh, isn't that one show on? Hey, we'll be here, man. Don't worry about us. We'll be here.
I just don't want to see that, man. It would hurt my feelings to see if that happened. But we got another super chat coming in from Edwin. I like this new Seahawks guy, Rams on the West. Hey, Squabo, man, you're getting fans out here, dude.
Yeah, love, man, love it.
I appreciate it. I'm also the one, lighting the fire underneath these Cardinals fan. Like, just for the record, of all the teams outside of the Seahawks in the NFC West, easily my favorite, the Cardinals, and not even close. Like, I 100% like. Look, you guys are the only team that's left that needs to lose in the Super Bowl in the NFC West since the Seahawks last won. Like, we've all lost in the Super Bowl except you. So it is your time. I'm rooting for you. I just, it's not going to happen.
That's fair, man. That's fair. I feel like we need to get Squabble back up in here, man. He's getting all these people getting crazy. I love it. Love it.
People riled up, man. CG is usually the one riling people up. If there's any last second questions, make sure you guys pop them in right now. I'm a very simple man. I have a very simple brain. When you put the super chats, they're bright colors. They catch my attention. The grays, I don't pay attention to them. Look at me. I'm wearing bright colors, got yellow behind me, all this stuff. But guys, drop them now. And if you guys have any questions for anybody, Yeah, Squabble talks facts. I subbed. You got a new sub, man, from Mark, he's here on all of our roundtables. Always has some awesome input from Mark for sure. So hey, new sub.
He's a Cardinal fan too, so.
Yeah, I mean, we all have our faults. You know.
Seriously, I'm honored. It's been a pleasure speaking sports with you guys. You guys are awesome.
That's good stuff, man. Before we hop out of here, I actually do have a question for you, Mike. I just want to ask. We talked about it going into the season that there was Cliff Kingsbury and that he may not be as amazing and all this. And then we kind of threw that out a little bit around like week 8, stuff like we were not mentioning any of that. We were actually saying like, look at Cliff, man, look at what he's doing. So what's changed now? What do you think? What do you want to happen at the end of the season? What do you think happens at the end of the season? But something's got to be up with Cliff, right?
Yeah, man, this is even going back to college days too. It's not just Arizona. It seems to be that's a trend. I think somebody put something out on Twitter. Obviously, when everybody's got some nice little stats up there, everybody likes to listen. So, yeah, but the stats are not in his favor when it comes down to the end of the season, and that even, like I said, goes back to his college days. So, me specifically, I'm a different type of fan, man. I want consistency for my team. If we were a team that were consistently good, then obviously I would give them a pass. I would be like, yeah, playoffs, good job, pat him in the back. But we're a team that we don't really have a lot of success. So when we have the success, obviously I want to seize the opportunity because, like I said earlier, man, a lot of fans are already okay with this. Some people are saying, just sit everybody down so we can get everybody healthy. And I'm like, what's going on here? Like, we still might have the opportunity to win the NFC West. And I know, Joe, you're laughing in your head right now, but if you're looking at the numbers right now, we still have an opportunity, and the Cardinals have everything any which way. And that's what I want. As a Cardinal fan, I don't like complacency. I don't like, oh, we're in the playoffs. Here we go. Yeah. This is a great win, because people like to post out stats. They're like, oh, well, look where we became. Like, look where we were. Cliff Kingsbury had like 5.5 wins, 8 wins, and now 10 wins. Oh, good job. Crown him good. But honestly, if we go into the playoffs and we lay a stinker, I'm still saying put him on the hot seat, because this is really showing what type of coach he is. Because if you're not going to be able to get it done in the playoffs, why are we having you? Like that's just how I feel it about the same situation. Why are you here? If you're going to be really good in the beginning of the season and then tail off in the end, you're here to win a Super Bowl for this, great city of Phoenix, Arizona. That's what you're here for, or everybody in Arizona. If you're not going to do it, why the heck are you here? And I've been one of the guys that always been harsh on Cliff Kingsbury, and I'm still going to say it. If we don't do anything in the playoffs, if we're one and done, you're going to very well bet I'm going to have a, video saying he still needs to go. Like, he still needs to go. I'm not happy with it. I'm not. 3 years. This is not the first year. This is not the second year. This is the third year of Cliff Kingsbury. We need to demand more, Arizona Cardinal fans. We need it. We need it. We need it.
It's tough, man, because I know, especially from like the Rams perspective too. I guess I can't relate completely to that of like in the playoffs, but not winning it. I guess right now we could look at McVay that way, but I mean, we sat with Fisher for 5 years though. You know what I mean? Whereas like, it's kind of like looking around like, are y'all watching it? Like, you guys,
yeah.
So like when we're playing, it was like the whole front office, like out at Bennigan's or something like that. Like, what the hell's going on here? So, we do have another question.
My fear is that if obviously we all know what I want, but I do think that because we made the playoffs, we're going to keep him, and it's just going to piss me off. It's going to boil my blood because, man, it's not enough for me as a Cardinal fan. It really isn't.
It shouldn't be, especially if the trend, which we've seen, it continues. We've seen the trend. We know what it is now. I think he's been there long enough that we know who he is, and I don't know if he's going to break it out. But all right, we got a question here. Josh coming back in with another super chat. Do appreciate the heck out of you, man. Appreciate everybody who's being here and all the super chats and stuff like that. It's really fun to talk football with everybody and get that input from the fans. But what's the team everyone's most scared of playing in the playoffs besides the Packers? Mine's the Niners. So, I mean, obviously nobody wants to go up to Green Bay. The fact that they're like looking at locking in the number 1 seed sucks because come on now. No, like, I mean, you look at all of our teams. We got 2 California teams, an Arizona team. Then you look at the rest of the NFC playoff race here. You got, Tampa, Dallas. You got all these warm weather teams. And then Green Bay just sitting up there, just cold as heck up there, and just it's not where anybody wants to play. So that one, of course, nobody wants to play in Green Bay. That place, it sucks to play there in January. Rams got booted out last year. up there. So I agree with Josh, man. My team's the 49ers. Until this Rams team can prove that we can defeat the 49ers, I think that's my team of like, I don't want to see them, but I'm not terribly scared of playing Dallas. I'm not terribly scared of playing Tampa Bay. Like, for the most part, I feel okay, but it's those pesky Niners, man. They seem like they're right there. John Jay, who would be your team?
Well, looking at this question, of course, there are probably teams that your teams don't want to play, but this is how I look at it. I'm not worried about my team playing whoever. If we got to play the Rams again, if we got to play the Cardinals, if we got to play the Bucks, if we got to play Dallas, Tampa Bay, it doesn't really matter to me because it's playoff football. It's one and done. If you lose, you lose. So you have to play whoever you want to play.
Play the game, John Jay. Who do you not want to play?
I'm sorry, but like I'm a different type of 49er fan. I'm like, you play the schedule. Now, when I look at a team that I'm a little bit worried about, if we have to, say we somehow beat the Rams and we have to play the Rams again, what happened last year, I do believe, like no team can win 3 games in a row with the same team. And we saw that with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Tom Brady played pretty bad in that game as well. But it doesn't really matter. So if the Niners win and we have to play the Rams again, it's not going to look good because history tells us that you don't win 3 times in a row with one team. So I'm going to go with history.
It'd be tough going back-to-back, too. Week 18 into the wild card week, who knows what would happen that next game.
So that's what history tells me. So, that's probably the best way to describe, what team I'm afraid to play again. I'm going to go with history, and history tells me if we beat the Rams, then probably the Rams have our number in the playoffs.
All right. Mike?
I'm just going to keep it short and say I'm going to go Bucks just because Tom Brady. I feel like, calls always go to him, so I'm just going to keep it. And Bruce Arians is over there, man. I don't want to hear the headlines, Bruce Arians dominates Arizona Cardinals. Obviously, he was our former head coach, so don't want to hear it, and I wouldn't want to play that.
Yeah, that checks out. Before we get out of here, I don't want to completely leave you out here in the cold squabble. So let's just say if the Seahawks were in position, what is the team that you would not want to play against?
How about this, man? How about I tell y'all what y'all should be afraid of?
Okay, yes.
Yeah, come on now. Come on. All right, so everyone that's not Joe, y'all should be afraid of the Rams. They about to kick y'all butts. That's what they about to do. They are on fire. The NFL likes them. If it's not Von Miller, if it's not OBJ, if it's not Cooper Kupp, it's the Zebras. And somebody's going to get you in favor of the Rams. So that's the team y'all should be looking out for in the NFC. If it's not the Rams, Joe, the team you should be looking for in the NFC is the Dallas Cowboys. I just talked about it. They haven't lost since Thanksgiving. They're scorching hot right now. They got a lot of momentum in their America's team. So that's a real team you need to be afraid of. But the question wasn't just the NFC. The question was in the playoffs. And the number one team everyone should be afraid of, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. 36-10, 34-28, 48-9, 22-9, 19-9, 41-14, 13-7, 20-17. Those are some of the wins that they've had. They're on a very hot streak, just like the Cowboys. And if you guys see them in the Super Bowl, my money's on the Chiefs.
Oof, man, they'll just have flashes. I know everybody would talk about that 2018 game we had with them, even though it's a very different team now. But oof, that was good stuff, man. That was actually the perfect input, man. Blow off my question and give me a better answer. I love that. That was perfect.
Right, love it. I feel like Squall was going to come here again. You're hyping up, Joe, man. Sheesh.
I hope, guys. I hope. And I'd love to have each of you on my channel as well.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we'll definitely be in touch for sure. This is not the last time we talk, especially with any of you guys, man. John Jay, loved having you here, man. Squabble, thank you guys, both of you guys, for filling in. Do appreciate it. Mike, myself, we're here every week. We do have backups, actually, but we just haven't needed them yet. So they're watching still, so we can keep them off to the side. But hey, guys, everybody who is hopping in today and all the questions that were asked, all that stuff, man, you guys have no idea how much we appreciate that. You guys are the reason we keep doing this stuff. It's so much fun to get that feedback and to rile up you Cardinals fans, man. That's what I'm here for. It's what I live for right now. So it's been fun, man. But hey, guys, the 3 of you guys and myself, we're gonna get out of here, but thank you again, man. We're getting too close to the end of the season, man. I'm not excited about it, but hey, you guys enjoy your night, all right? And go Rams.
Amazing, man.
Go Rams.
Go Hawks.
Everybody, go